It is the Sports Fix here on Flow FM, and it's time now to have a look at what's been happening in Lower Yorke Peninsula cricket, and a man who joins us on the line. Win, lose or draw, rain, hail or shine. He's back again. Adam Pitt, how are you, mate?
Good, Reg. Very good, my friend.
Good to have you back. Grand final, we'll get to it in a tick. Yourselves taking on Eastern Districts, that being Stansbury, of course, the mighty Stansbury Cricket Club, into another grand final. Eastern District, though, they were the top side for a reason. Before we get into any real detail, the reality is they got you. They were just a little bit too good on the day.
Absolutely. Having a couple of beers and a good chat to the opposition after the game, and a comment that was said to me, which rings very true. Cricket did cricket on Saturday, and like I've tried to say to myself a few times, I keep correcting myself. We had a bad day, but we didn't actually have a bad day. It was a good day of cricket, and most of the day we were pretty good. We just had a very bad hour and a half, and Eastern District, as you mentioned, top of the ladder all year, and they've seen an opening and they took it. So absolute kudos to those boys. They've had a great year and well-deserved.
Yeah, good on them. They have been around the mark pretty much all season long. To be honest, probably towards the mid part of the season, we're waiting for them to drop off. But when you're led by the likes of Troy Goldsworthy, that just does not happen. And look, before we talk about the grand final itself, let's talk about how both sides got there. Eastern Districts in the semi-final back on the 5th of March. They took on Maitland and, well, they towed them up. They beat them by 92 runs. That man Goldsworthy that I just mentioned, out of their total of 5 for 182, he rattled off 123 of them, if you don't mind. This is a man in form.
Absolutely. No, he was a beast through the finals campaign. He'd had a good year. He started the year well, probably not converting him into hundreds early in the season, and then just came home with what you could say was an absolutely drenched, wet sail. I think in his last month of home and away games, he scored 3 out of 400s. And then, as you mentioned, semi and another 120 off 150 balls, which his team makes 180. So he's pretty much scored most of their runs in that game. And that's against a Maitland, which, if you would ask most people within our league who was going to win that semi, I think most people would have said probably Maitland would win it. But that's what Eastern District had been doing all year. They just kept answering the critics, and people just never thought they were the best side in the comp, and just game after game they proved everyone wrong.
Yep, that's how you do it. And you could say Goldsworthy 123 defeated Maitland 90, but that wouldn't be entirely accurate because the Eastern District's bowling lineup was death by 1,000 cuts, rolling Maitland for 90, short 3 wickets, Parsons 2, Hickman 2. Pretty well-balanced bowling unit, as you guys found out on Grand Final Day.
Absolutely, and I've said forever that cricket's one of those funny games. Everyone concentrates on runs and who makes them and that sort of stuff. But the reality with cricket is it is a team game, and the bowling and the fielding of a side is what gets you premierships. And Eastern District were as good as anyone in that field. They didn't really have any superstars with the ball, but everyone knew their role and everyone did it well. And if you wanted to score runs against them, you had to do something really well. Yeah. They never gave you a bad ball, and they were very, very good.
The other semi-final, your crew at home, batting first 7 for 213 against Minlinton, and runs on the board in a final. Always pretty happy to have that sort of total on the board, I would have thought. Yourself, you top scored with 48 that day, and everyone chipped in, which would have been pleasing with that total, I'd imagine. Absolutely.
No, we sort of reflected on the game and disappointed we didn't really get anyone to go and do a Troy Goldsworthy and get a big score. But the other side of it, well, everyone sort of got a bit form. So from that respect, no, we couldn't have been happy with the way the semi went. Got a good score on the board. Middleton, to their credit, been a good side for a long time. In the run chase, they gave it a real red hot crack, and that game was alive pretty much right till the end. Kai Newbold batted beautifully. Angus Glasbrook got him a good start. It was a really good semi, Regs.
Yeah, 172 in reply, so they had a red-hot crack, but their season came to an end. The two winners of those semi-finals faced off in the grand final at Curramulka, and that's the game we'll talk about now. We've touched on it already. Eastern Districts batted first here against your Stansbury boys. And you bowled really well. Probably had an opportunity to take them for a little bit less than what they ended up with. 9 for 140 Eastern Districts. That man again, Goldsworthy, 73 of them, so more than half their total. But my understanding is he was dropped early and then made you guys really pay the price.
Absolutely, and we talk about it in any game of cricket, but catches win matches, and yeah, we weren't good enough to get him early. I think it was on 4 or in single figures anyway, and we dropped him in the gully, and we knew we weren't going to get too many other chances, but we just had to bowl well. I think at one stage, Regs, they were 2 for about 60 or 70 at drinks, and at that stage, we knew we had to do some really good things in the second half. And to our boys' credit, I thought they bowled and fielded beautifully in the second 22 overs. And to keep them to 140 after a good start, we actually were over the moon. We come off the field at the halfway mark, the completion of our bowling innings, and at 140 we were very comfortable. And we thought, well, if we can bat well, we should be able to get the chockies.
Well, your run chase started really well. You were none for 61 there at one point, chasing 140 and going along beautifully. Smithy at the top of the order, 51. But when he got out, and it was this man again, Goldsworthy, who took the first 3 wickets of the Stansbury innings, 3 for 30 finished off with. But sometimes it's not just how many you take, it's who you take. And to get your top 3, that swung the game in their favour.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, ripping start. I think we were none for 61 at one stage. And both openers were playing their roles beautifully. Zach Bertoldi, our captain, had a great year, and he was struggling to find fluency through his innings, but he was doing what we needed him to do. And Austin Smith was damaging at the top. He got into a bit of a rhythm and was starting to go over the top. And when you're trying to defend 140, you can't drop the field out too much because it makes it too easy. So he put pressure right back on Eastern District. But as you mentioned, Troy Goldie, their captain, stood up and he was able to get the ball just to do enough and got Smith out trying to launch one over the top again. And then the rock set in and we just constantly just lost wickets because couldn't build a partnership. And once the pressure came onto the batting side, it then just got worse and worse. I think we lost 10 for 46 Regs in about an hour and a half.
Wow, it happened. When it happens quick. Got to mention Parsons as well. His second spell, and this is an inspired captaincy move too. Once you've got the top 3, you really got to bring on one of your better bowlers. There's no point. You're not going to defend 140 odd under those circumstances. So you got to take wickets. Well, Parsons come in and cleaned up B.K. Vince and J.K. Moss for globes, if you don't mind, and that really put the cat amongst the pigeons.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I think there was 4 ducks in total within our innings, and a fair few of them were to our better batsmen. So you just can't, like I said, you can't build partnerships. You can't put pressure back on the opposition.
Done in 35 overs, 107. So you were on track. You just ran out of wickets. No one could stay there at the crease long enough. Mate, run out in a grand final. You got to walk me through that. What happened?
No, I most people in the Yorks know I do get run out a bit, but I was at the non-strikers end, and Mitch Ryan, one of our boys, smoked the ball to square leg, of which the call was yes, pretty much straight away off the bat. Angus Short at square leg has dived at full strength to his right. Couldn't have picked it up cleaner. Smack bang in the middle of hands, jumped to a knee, let go of the ball really quickly. The keeper, Josh Hoyle, come running in as hard as he could. There's a bit of discrepancy whether the ball hit the stump's direct hit or whether it came off the keeper's glove onto the stump, but it was slick fielding. My dive wasn't quite long enough and I just wasn't quite there, but no, excellent fielding, and in grand finals, as we mentioned earlier, you take your chances, and they did it.
Yep, you got to take your chances. Ryan almost got you back into the game with a nice 20 odd down the order, but just didn't get enough support. So all out 107, Eastern Districts, deserved premiers, mate. I know you're probably disappointed about the result, but Stansbury, if you want to win the flag there in Lower Yorke Peninsula cricket, the reality is you got to beat Stansbury in a final at some point. So It's always been the case, at least over the last decade, and that trend continues.
Yeah, no, we're very disappointed. We thought we had a pretty good side this year, and no one likes losing grand finals. But we've had a good run. I think our club's in a good, strong position. But Eastern District's had a fantastic year, Regs, as we mentioned earlier, and no one gives you grand finals. You've got to win them, and that's what Eastern District did. So no, they were fantastic. They had a great year, individually and collectively, and they thoroughly deserved the victory.
Here, and I know sometimes when we've talked about Eastern Districts this year, it's just sounded like a one-man show, but far from it. They're an even unit, Eastern Districts, and one bloke does not win a premiership. They've got a good bowling lineup, as we mentioned before, and they've got other blokes who chip in with the bat as well. So congratulations to them. They're the champs for a reason, and I'm sure your boys will dust yourselves off and bounce back, but now you got to join forces with the team that beat you to get ready for the winter, I suppose.
Absolutely, yeah. So we got training this week, and we got a trial game on Saturday. So she turns around pretty quick, doesn't it?
It does. Who are you playing in the trial?
So we've got Hummocks Watchmen at Fort Wakefield on Saturday. So that'll be a bit of fun, Rick. Something I haven't actually even had my first training yet, so the body's going to be really looking forward to that one.
Well, it should be a big year for the Crows crew. We'll keep an eye on that through the winter show, mate. But, hey, Pitty, thanks for being part of the show this year. It's been great to have Yorkies on and chatting about your cricket. It's always great cricket down there on Lower Yorke Peninsula, and look forward to perhaps doing it again next season, mate.
Absolutely. No, appreciate it, Regs. Your efforts, Flow FM. Country sport needs as much recognition as it can get. We're very passionate about our country sport, and we really appreciate the coverage.